All right, ladies and gentlemen of D-Class personnel, go ahead and sit down. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Commander and I'm going to be briefing you on the SCP you're about to go study, so I suggest you pay attention. What we're looking at today is SCP-4396, Object Class KETER. Special Containment Procedures. Members of MTF Lambda-4, the Bird Watchers, are to be stationed at various major population centers across the globe so as to respond to any reports of SCP-4396 or SCP-4396-1. Upon any occurrence of SCP-4396, agents are to investigate the area and discern the location of it and/or its target. Victims of SCP-4396 are to be administered either Class A or B amnestics as necessary. Description: SCP-4396 is a large peacock that appears malnourished and decrepit. It is completely desaturated in color and is missing a feather from its tail. The behavior of SCP-4396 is predictable and primarily revolves around the specimen attempting to retrieve SCP-4396-1. -1 is a feather from the tail of a peacock that will teleport to a random person anywhere on the planet, designated as SCP-4396-A. Once it is in somebody's possession, they may only be rid of it by purposefully returning it to SCP-4396. Attempting to discard, destroy, or abandon -1 will always result in its return to the target. -A share a common trend of having lost something or someone of significant importance to their lives. Once SCP-4396-1 has transported to SCP-4396-A, SCP-4396 will begin moving in search of its recovery. 4396 itself has only been observed to walk throughout the duration of its search and is not known to utilize any supernatural means as it travels. However, when subjected to any conditions in which escape would be impossible for any other ordinary being, such as being confined in a solid metal containment vessel or being otherwise restrained, it will inexplicably bypass any obstacles and continue on its way. SCP-4396 will persist until it arrives at SCP-4396-A's location, at which point it will begin to pester them into returning -1. SCP-4396 will act confrontational towards -A, engaging in attacks until the feather is returned. These attacks are typically harmless, and it is believed that the specimen does not wish to hurt the targets. Due to the victims being unaware of the methods of appeasing SCP-4396, they often try to flee the specimen and sometimes even their place of residence, which only leads to prolonged encounters with the specimen. If SCP-4396-1 is successfully returned by SCP-4396-A, SCP-4396 will take it in its beak. Upon doing so, it will revert to the size of a typical peacock, and its natural coloration will be restored as it interacts with -1. It will coo happily and demonstrate other behaviors associated with pleasure and delight. Eventually, SCP-4396 will leave the area with -1 still in its beak. It is not known where SCP-4396 goes after leaving the victim, but sometime later, SCP-4396-1 selects a new target and the cycle repeats. This is interview log 4396-A1. Interviewee is Clyde Bonnet, previous target who successfully delivered -1 to SCP-4396. Interviewer is Dr. Flynn, Foundation Psychologist. Forward. Mr. Bonnet was taken into custody after making a post on social media detailing his experience with SCP-4396. The post was taken down by Foundation staff, and Mr. Bonnet was set for an interview prior to being administered low-level amnestics. Begin log. Bonnet: why am I here? Who are you people? Flynn: we just want to ask you some questions about your experience with the peacock. Bonnet: is that what this is about? Look, I'm not crazy. Flynn: no one ever said you were crazy. We just need to ask you a few things. Your cooperation would be much appreciated. The sooner you do, the sooner we can both get out of here. Bonnet: okay, fine. Okay, what do you want? Flynn: could you please tell us about yourself, Mr. Bonnet? Bonnet: my name is Clyde Bonnet. I'm 39 years old and I work as a geology teacher in high school, Oregon. Flynn: okay, great. Now, would you mind telling us a little bit about your family situation? Bonnet: actually, I'd rather not. Flynn, it's completely fine if you aren't comfortable divulging such information. You should know, however, that it could really help us understand the nature of this occurrence. Bonnet, fine, I guess. Where should I start? Flynn, wherever you'd prefer, Mr. Bonnet. Bonnet, well, I was 7 years old when my parents died. One night there was a fire and my dad grabbed me from my bed and brought me outside to safety. He told me to stay as he went back for my mom. Neither of them made it out. It's haunted me ever since. Flynn, that's awful. I'm sorry for your loss. Bonnet, I lived with my aunt and uncle in Northern California after that, but it wasn't really ever the same. I don't think I've fully recovered from it, really. Flynn, is that all? Bonnet, my entire life was like this, on and off. It wasn't until 17 years ago when I experienced happiness for the first time again. I met this beautiful woman, and long before we were married, I guess you could say she was the world to me. I was nothing without her. It was perfect. Together we had a beautiful baby boy. Flynn, thank you, Mr. Bonnet. This should be enough. You're welcome to... Bonnet, no, there's more. Flynn, that's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. Bonnet, my boy. My sweet, sweet boy. He was everything I could ever ask for in a son. Smart, kind, well-behaved. He always kept his grades up. But one night, he just had to go and make that stupid mistake. He was only 13. Flynn, Mr. Bonnet. Bonnet, he fell in with the wrong crowd. Some teenagers offered to drive him to a party. That night, well, he didn't come home that night. And then on the news, a fatal car crash not too far away, and he was there, listed among the victims. Just then, that's when the damn feather showed up. Flynn, oh? Bonnet, 5 people were in that car the night of the crash. 4 died. My son's body was never found. Then that horrible mutated thing started terrorizing me. I tried to get away, but it was relentless. I didn't know what to do. I was trapped. I had nothing to live for. And then there was this monster coming after me. Flynn, Mr. Bonnet, this is some very valuable information, but Bonnet, I'm almost done. Please just let me finish. I finally thought to give him what he wanted. I gave him the feather, and I watched him transform before my eyes. I mean, I don't know, man. His sheer joy, his happiness. I guess what I'm trying to say is, in a way, I saw myself in him. For the first time in weeks, ever since the crash, I felt happiness? I don't know. Flynn, when was this? Bonnet, this all happened 2 days ago. Then your guys came and picked me up yesterday, and the rest, well, you know the rest. Flynn, thank you for sharing this information with us, Mr. Bonnet. Bonnet, thank you. I needed to tell someone about everything I've been through. I needed this. Flynn, I think this interview is just about concluded. We'll bring you back to your chamber, and then we'll send you on your way. See, at this point, they're interrupted by the ringing of Mr. Bonnet's cell phone. Neither of them recognize the number. Bonnet, it's fine, I'll call him back. Flynn, no, you should take it now. Mr. Bonnet picks up the call. He sits there listening before his eyes widen and he covers his mouth. Bonnet, thank you. Thank you so much, officer. I don't know what I can say. Thank God. He hangs up the phone. Flynn, who was that? Bonnet, it was a call from the local police office. God, they found my son. My boy's alive. End log. Now, after the recording of interview 4396-A1, subject Clyde Bonnet was administered B-class amnestics and informed about the finding of his son. He was then brought to the county police station accompanied by Foundation staff. The officers there reported that his child was found laying unconscious on the porch of their house. When asked about his experience, his son explained that he was injured and unable to walk after the crash, but was able to climb out of the wreckage of the vehicle before losing consciousness. He regained consciousness sometime the following day in the forest surrounding the site of the crash, recalling being hurt and not knowing where he was before finding a trail of feathers. The trail led him back to his house, where he was soon found by law enforcement. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. SCP-4396, you are dismissed.